I was on the fence about picking up this game. Death Stranding just didn't seem like my cup of tea. I'm one of those Americans that Kojima was talking about. I love my first-person shooters. But Death Stranding gripped me in the best way, a way that I did not even expect. And that only comes from having the controller in your hands. Welcome back. My name is ImageOmega, and I'm loving having a chance to branch out just a little bit here today. So there's this indie game called Death Stranding. It's a first-party PlayStation title, coming soon to the PC also, but it's made by Hideo Kojima, who also is infamously known for the Metal Gear Solid series. Now, before I dive into anything more about Death Stranding, I do want to say that I'm going to keep this absolutely 100% spoiler-free. Even I'm going to only show footage that's previously been shown, whether that's trailers or events, and even then, I'm going to show the things that I think are spoiler-free also, because I know those trailers had some questionable stuff in there. So I would say I'm about 20 hours in to Death Stranding. I've so far just been taking my time. I'm actually only on episode 3 because I've been going back, doing the side missions, the extra deliveries, and just plain having a blast with everything that it has to offer. And now, if you don't know, Death Stranding's gameplay is making deliveries. You're like busy, super busy. Postal service on Christmas week busy. Yeah, that in a nutshell is what the gameplay loop revolves around, and it is tremendously enthralling. Now, this is where the core experience becomes divisive for so many. This aspect right here, enjoying the process of making deliveries, has commonly been what separates people from enjoying this game or not enjoying it. When the game first launched, I saw quite a few mentions of people concluding that this was a game that they'd simply like to watch for its story content. And as much as I love the game, I don't think the story is all that gripping. The story beats themselves are fine, but they're more like interesting, like crazy weird style of interesting. It at least gets your attention. But the story, watching the cutscenes, that's not what compels me to want to play day after day. And that's why I know that if you truly have any interest in this game at all, you need to pick it up, play it, and simply make that decision for yourself whether or not it makes sense for you to keep going. Let me explain. So yeah, you're a delivery guy in this crazy yet cool world filled with ghosts called BTs. And there's other supernatural phenomenon around every corner that they explain, and very well I might add, all along the way. The world is there. It immerses you in the experience. It also doesn't hurt that I've been a big fan of Norman Reedus, who's the main character in this game, since his first role in Boondock Saints. All the way to him capturing the hearts of all the zombie lovers out there as Daryl on The Walking Dead. Playing as Norman Reedus' character Sam, that alone may just very well be compelling enough for most people. I think that's a big reason why I was so interested in this game in the first place, and it doesn't hurt that the rest of the cast of talent in this game is just amazing. But those are all things you could just watch and enjoy. So let's get to the first gameplay loop. Making a delivery is as simple as it sounds. You get some cargo, and you're told the destination, and you're tasked with taking that cargo there. Here's where things get interesting. Maybe unlike some delivery services in the real world, the emphasis is on speed and the condition of the cargo once it arrives. And that's where all the tension lies, the traversal of the world. And I'll be the first to tell you that travel in most other games kind of bores me to tears. Even in a game like Breath of the Wild, all I wanted to do was get on my horse and get there as fast as possible, or use fast travel and just warp to where I needed to go. Other games use travel as a means of connecting those high points, where with Death Stranding, at least so far, the high point is the travel. Now, how could that possibly be fun? To many it sounds just like tedious work, but I promise, having that controller in your hand, seeing yourself climb through rocky terrain, balancing this immense tower of packages on your back, knowing that the person on the other end is counting on you. Dang it, I want to go make some deliveries right now. It's just compelling. I'm enamored with this gameplay loop. I could not believe the amount of tension I felt in just navigating the landscape, avoiding any sort of disastrous areas, circumventing enemies, or just trying to plain make sure I don't trip over a simple rock. I found myself being oh so careful as I played, and I'm the type of guy that loves to run and gun in most other games. And at some point, you're going to fall. And when you do, it is both spectacular and gut-wrenching all at the same time. Watching the animation of your character flail as he loses his balance and then seeing the splatter of your precious cargo all over the jagged rocks surrounding you, it pulls your heartstrings in 20 different directions. Forget those few moments when you encounter enemies for the very first time. That's terrifying. Where most games try to avoid tedious travel and make it as easy as possible for the player to get to the next exciting moment, Death Stranding embraces the journey. It expands on the process and gives you tools to refine your strategy. I find myself poring over the map, planning out my routes, carefully calculating the weight of everything I'm carrying, and making sure everything is in order before setting out to get these deliveries done. These are the type of details in a game that I would normally just ignore. You are planning your success, and that's a huge factor. In fact, the game heavily leans into a social media style system where likes are one of the biggest differentials that influence and reinforce your choices in the world. I find myself wanting to do good, build structures, help others, deliver lost cargo that other players might have dropped along the way, and it's all just in the simple vein of knowing that it's going to make a difference in someone else's game world. And that brings up a real requirement for this game. You absolutely have to have it connected online, which it is important to mention that you don't even need a PlayStation Plus membership to do. That's how impactful the online component is to this world. Seeing the dropped cargo from other players, the structures or tools that others have left behind to help you along your journey, or just even receiving those influx of likes from players who have used your structures or tools to complete that gameplay loop. It makes every decision a satisfactory one. I don't even mind doubling back to gather the right supplies just to make traversal easier for others. The entire game does an amazing job of positively reinforcing you along the way, even just from the NPCs with how they revere you to the simple emails they leave in your inbox. If I was simply watching a stream of someone else play, I wouldn't care about that email that Johnny left reviewing our recent interactions. I wouldn't care that this person got likes because they left a ladder in a space that other players were taking advantage of. In fact, I could not appreciate the trouble, hardship, or the tension that exists taking each piece of cargo from point A to point B, scaling over cliffs, and crossing rushing rivers. To add on to this point, I want to reference another game, God of War. After I finished that game, I made it a point to recommend it to everyone. One of my gaming buddies didn't have a PlayStation, so he took the opportunity just to watch someone else play through, watch someone else's stream. So he got to experience, or I guess see, the story all the way through. But I couldn't understand how that was enjoyable. I watch streams, I watch other people play, but there's a disconnect for me when it comes to a single player game, especially something that is so fantastic as God of War. At least he got a chance to watch the game because, he didn't have the PlayStation to play it. But when you do play the game, there's an experience like no other. He'll never understand that satisfactory feeling of every single thud of that axe hitting your hand after a long, grueling battle with a bunch of enemies. Or even the fan service moments that emotionally check you of just, let me say, those moments where it's yeah, I did that. I earned that. I got that. Watching is simply not the same. Because when this controller is in my hands, I'm the one playing the game. The experience is uniquely my own. I'm the one that's making all the decisions, and I'm being rewarded for those decisions that I am making. And that's why I adore Death Stranding. So if you're on the fence about Death Stranding, find a way to rent the games. Just try it out. Borrow it, Find a kiosk, something. Just get that controller in your hands, give it a whirl, and see if it resonates with you. That's it for all I have to say about that. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, hearing my thoughts. I super appreciate you being here. And just like in Death Stranding, hit that like button. Let me know that you enjoyed this, because every single like or comment, feedback that you leave, it really helps me out a ton. It lets me know that I'm making something that people enjoy watching. And if you want to come along with me during this climb, consider hitting that subscribe button. Alrighty guys, again, I'm ImageOmega, and I will see you guys next time.